Now it's time for the Weldbond wash. So what we'll need is a little bit of a brush, paintbrush, or whatever it is that you like to spread runny glue on. Weldbond, for some reason this is the only thing that works. Something to mix it up in, and some water for adding to the Weldbond, as well as for cleaning up the brush. Now why do we need to do one of these is always the question. It's because I know I haven't glued this properly. The pieces are bigger, so there's more opportunity for the silicone that I've used or the glue to shrink away from the edges, so you would get grout bleed. Plus, being my first one, I haven't stuck it properly. I plonked the glass on and then wriggled it about, so there are bubbles and potentially glue hasn't come all the way to the edges. So you need this because you haven't covered both surfaces together completely, which is fine. There's no right or wrong. It's better if you don't have to do one of these. With smaller pieces, it's less of a problem because you can really glue it down and squeeze out all the air bubbles. So the only part on Weldbond washing is going to be where the stained glass is. The black tiles are completely opaque, so I don't need to worry about that at all. The grout can go in underneath and do its thing, but I don't want grout bleed, which means it will go in under the glass and then cause discoloration around the colours. So the last thing I want is black gungy mess looking under the glass there. So the Weldbond wash. So big thank you to Peter Twining for his video. I'm going to follow all of his instructions, so hopefully I'll do him proud. Now the first part of this process is to squishy some Weldbond, not too much. I've got maybe a teaspoon's worth in there, or a little bit of extra and make it a teaspoon's worth, and then equal parts with water. Oops, that's a bit, I need to go tip some out. Get rid of it. All done. Mix it all about. Oh, the brush has soaked it all up, but that's okay. We prime up the brush and then we can start painting away. So I'm just going to paint it all the way around the glass. So from what I watched in the video, the Weldbond wash will gradually find its location underneath all those gaps in the stained glass. So I'm really going to swish that all around. In all those cracks. I may need to do a second potion for the other fish. Make sure I've got all of this, because I definitely don't want grout bleed on the lovely white tail fins, or really underneath that lovely gorgeous yellow either. So I'm getting that all down there. Okay, so I can make up some more. I'm going to need a reasonable amount for this one. So this time, now that I know how far it goes, I'm going to make it a nice big squish all over the bottom here. So this is more like a large dessert spoonful. Add the equivalent water. Oops, I'll just squeeze some more Weldbond in there. Give it a good squish around. Nice stir up. And continue the painting effort. So I didn't quite have enough to go down here, so I'm making sure I get that in there, because it would be really awful to get to the end and then have a horrible little bit of grout bleed in there, because, and being your own work, that'll be the only thing you see. It's awful when that happens, when you're the only person who can see the mistake, and then when you look at it, that's all you can see. I had to depart one of my mosaics just recently for that very reason. There was one little bit there that just annoyed the bejesus out of me, so I moved it on. Right, so that's all equalising around the edge. So what that's effectively doing is creating a barrier, and it should find its spaces underneath the glass and just fill in there. And once this is all done, it's just left then to dry. And who knows how long it's going to take. Hopefully if there is potential for grout bleed, those little spaces are smallish, because I don't want globs of glue to dig out and for the grouting process, because you do need space for your grout. So I'm just going, and I'm always put too much of everything on. I put too much glue, I put too much of everything. So we'll see how we go here. And my goodness me, I'm going to have to make some more up. These fish are obviously much bigger than I thought. And then of course I will check every single edge to make sure there is space for the grout. So we'll just add a little bit more so I can finish off this tail. A little bit more water. It's about 50, ooh, it's a bit less than 50-50. And of course it's a table for me, so if it doesn't work out perfectly, no harm done, because I'm not selling it to anybody. This is a table just for me. Look at that, so all nicely covered, a bit thick over here, so I might get some out of the cracks. And put your brush aside to wash out, and you can see how all that is filling in quite well. So I think I might actually get a damp cloth and wipe the excess off the top, because I don't want to spend half my life trying to get that horrible glue off the top of everything, knowing that the bits are down well in between all the cracks. So there you have the Weldbond wash. So next time, okay, I'm just going to take that top layer of horrible glue off. Not going to interfere too much, so anywhere where it's bulging out too far I can just quickly soak that up, and it'll be easy to see because it's all white, but it will find its spot. And being white, it can see all the spots where I've missed gluing quite a bit. So wherever that white is would be where grout bleed would have happened. So if I was using black grout, I would have horrible grout bleed there. So this is a really good thing to be doing. I may even do it a second time. And look on my on this bit here how terrible it is. Wouldn't that be hideous? Unless of course I really wanted that sort of effect. I really boo-booed on this clear glass. Don't need this around the black pieces at all. And there's plenty of glue there, so I can just get rid of that. Plenty of glue there, I can get rid of that. Because you need space, and by space, whatever the minimum requirement is of your grout. So in my instance, the minimum requirement for my grout is 1 mil. So if the glue comes up equal to the surface, there's no space for the grout. Okay, so can leave that now, and I'll do a last check by doing another wash over the top to make sure I don't have these white bits. So this one bit here is particularly bad, and this bit I missed around his nose completely, absolutely completely. So all filled up, so that's fantastic. You can really see it working, doing its job. So if I'd done a perfect job, you wouldn't be able to see how good this is. So hopefully you can see that little bit of disaster there, but that was the bit that was refracting beautiful light. Okay.